Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here, and welcome to another episode of Episode Rundown, where I, Shady Doorags, run down the episodes of Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug, and Cat Noir. And today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 7, The Dark Owl. Now, when I came into this episode, kind of like the last one, I thought that this was going to be a really bad episode, and it does do some things objectively bad, but at the same time, it does a lot of things that I actually really like. So let's get into it. The episode starts with Marinette and Adrian, with all the kids really leaving the school. The school's being dismissed, and the principal's telling everyone to hurry up and leave. And one thing they do that I actually really like is as Marinette and Alia are going by, Alia's asking Marinette if she can hang out, and Marinette says yes, but then is like, no, actually, I just remembered I have something I have to do. And Adrian does the same thing with Nino. Nino asks Adrian if he can hang out, and Adrian says, no, he's got stuff to do. I like this. I noticed it as soon as it happened. I was like, they kind of put that so we could obviously notice it, even though it's not really what's being focused on. The principal is being focused on. I was like, that detail is going to come back. And it does. It does come back in a pretty obvious way. But anyway, the principal rushes out the students out of the school, and then he goes into his office and he talks to his computer. I can't remember the computer's name. I guess I don't know. He talks to it like it's a butler, and it makes me wonder if last episode when he was saying he wanted to get into computers, if that was foreshadowing. If it was, it could have been hinted at a bit better that it was going to lead into something. But at the same time, I appreciate subtlety. It might have just been a little bit too subtle. But yeah, he talks to his computer, and his computer opens up a panel, and it's of a bunch of superhero stuff. And he dresses up like a superhero, goes out, and he tries to help people. And he calls himself the Owl. And I love superhero stuff, as people know. But I also love cheesy superhero stuff when it knows it's cheesy. And he was trying to be a cheesy superhero. Every time he said his name, he would look at the camera and he would just dab and be like, I'm the Owl! And it's like, just wow, just the Owl! I loved it every time he did it. And it was interesting because he would be talking to someone and then he would just turn and look at the screen. He would break the fourth wall every time. But he goes and he tries to be a superhero, but he's not good at it. He's not really good. And this is something I think it does objectively wrong. The Principal Damocles, that's his name. He goes out and he tries to help people, but he tries to help them with mundane things that any normal person could do. Like he tries to rescue a cat from a tree, but it fails horribly. And this is something any normal person could do. But they're like, no, you should be going around doing this stuff. Ladybug and Cat Noir show up and they have to rescue him from, I can't remember what he was doing, but they have to rescue him from whatever it was he was doing. And they're like, yo, we've had to rescue you so many times. We are actual superheroes. You're just a regular person. You shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. And I don't like this message. I don't like it when they say that superheroes are special because of their powers. Now, I've gone through this before. Superheroes are supposed to be an advantage. They're supposed to be an advantage to a situation. But when you start treating it like the situation would not get solved without superheroes, you're pushing everyone else down to push the superheroes up. And I feel that Adrian and Marinette have not earned the right to say, we're real superheroes, so we can actually do this. Because they were never, well, Adrian was, but this doesn't come into that much of a play when it comes to his character. But the point I'm trying to make is, they were never showcased what was special about them when it comes to saving the day. When they got their powers, the old guy who decided to give them their powers, he said the thing that was special about them was that they were nice. But there's tons of nice people out there. So saying that doesn't really mean much. So for especially Marinette, because Marinette is so clumsy and whatnot, for her to come out and say, we're real superheroes, we have actual powers, so we can do this, it comes off across like, you didn't earn this thing that you have, okay? You know, it's the typical Batman, I'm not wearing hockey pads speech. And those kinds of moments, I think, have a point. You need to tell people they can't just imitate what you're doing. You're in that situation for a reason, but it shouldn't just be your powers. That's what I'm trying to say. It shouldn't just be your powers. With someone like Batman, he's got training, he's got equipment, he's specially equipped to handle that stuff. Even with Superman, yeah, he does have powers, but he also has the mindset that goes with his Superman powers. And Superman doesn't deny help from like civilians and whatnot unless it's absolutely going to hurt them. But he'll like work with the military. He'll work with the cops. He won't just tell people they can't help. So that kind of was iffy. I think that was objectively wrong, and it annoyed me. But Ladybug and Cat Noir, they go on the rooftop to talk. And this is something I like, and I don't think we've seen enough of. Just them talking. Just them sitting down and talking. Not doing superhero quips back and forth. Not Cat Noir flirting with Ladybug. Just them talking about something. Like, to me, that feels like they're actual people. And I like that. I like that a lot. That they were sitting on the roof and talking. They're talking about what they can do for the principal. And they say, well, we could... there was some idea that Cat Noir came up with. And Ladybug said, no, that'll shatter his dream. But what if he was allowed to live his dream? And I'm like, this is a very bad idea. This is a very bad idea. If somebody wants to be something and you show them that they are good at it, there's a good chance that they're going to want to keep doing it. So what they decide to do is they decide to get Alia, like she's their BFF or something, which she is. And Alia dresses up as a supervillain to cause fake havoc in the town. It's a good thing that the cops don't do anything, because if freaking the cops tried to like arrest Alia or whatnot, which she is perpetrating a crime. What she's doing is illegal. But because she's, you know, if a cop asks you to do something like that, you would probably get away with it. But because Ladybug and Cat Noir asked her to do it, she's probably going to get away with it. But anyway, I did not like this idea. I did not like it at all. So the owl comes in, he comes to save the day, and Ladybug reveals that he's Principal Damocles. My absolute favorite critique of the show is back, and it's bigger than ever. So my biggest critique in this show, if you guys don't remember from my review, is that it makes no sense to me how Ladybug and Cat Noir can tell who the villains are, but they can't tell who each other are. And in fact, no one can tell who Ladybug and Cat Noir are. It doesn't make any sense that they can instantly tell who the villains are, but they can't tell who the superheroes are. So in this episode, Ladybug and Cat Noir know who the owl is. They know he's Principal Damocles. But for some reason, nobody else knows. Like, within the same episode, they have consistency problems. Why does no one else know that the Dark Owl is Principal Damocles? Like, why? It makes no sense within the context of the episode. How do they know, and how does no one else know? But they reveal that the owl is Principal Damocles, and he gets embarrassed. And what he decided, and you know, once he's embarrassed, now he's got negative emotions. Now Hawkmoth comes. Hawkmoth turns his computer into an Akuma, and he becomes the Dark Owl. And I saw his new design. I was like, okay, that's actually pretty terrifying. And the Dark Owl is basically an evil Batman. So Owlman, yeah. He's got all sorts of gadgets and whatnot. And what he does is he threatens this school bus full of animals, and it's gonna fall on top of a kitten. See this right here? You see how cheesy this is? It's over the top cheesy. A school bus full of animals, and it's gonna fall on a kitten, or was it a puppy? It's gonna fall on some cute little animal. That's so over the top cheesy. So he's like, yeah, unless you hand me your Miraculous, this is gonna happen in such and such time. And he's got a switch with a big red button on it. Now, I thought that big red button was for him to push so he could release the animals, but we'll get to that in a second. So Ladybug and Cat Noir show up, and they have an action scene, which is pretty good. They managed to get the controller away from him, And this big red button, which clearly the button on it would be to release the bus on top, they push it. And I'm like, wait, what? Apparently it was the stop button. It was supposed to stop the timer. But I'm like, if you see a big red button on that, I would think that would release the mechanism. Cat Noir, I think Cat Noir does his cataclysm on something, and Ladybug does her lucky charm, and it gives her an ink pen. The owl, however, manages to capture them in a very smart way. Like, this is what been a really good Akuma, because he's got really cool powers. You know, he's got Batman powers. He can be defeated, but he's also really, really smart. And it turns out he was just playing them. The animals and the kitten thing were completely fake because he wants to be a superhero. He's not going to harm innocent things. But he manages to capture Ladybug and Cat Noir. And Ladybug, this part right here, this is the part. I have to talk about this part so hard. What happens is Ladybug squirts the camera with ink so he can't see. And outside, we see from the Dark Owl's perspective, the Miraculous come out. And he gets them, he sends them to Hawkmoth. Hawkmoth gets them, and he's like, yes, at last! Wait a second, these are fake! And then Cat Noir bursts out with his cataclysm. What happened was, Ladybug, earlier when she was messing with Alia, she had made fake Miraculous. They show this on screen. When she blotted out the camera, what she had to do that so she could feed Tiki and Plag. She made Adrian close his eyes so that he couldn't see her, and she closed her eyes so she couldn't see him. This, remember what I said in my review, love drama comes first. They try to stall Marinette and Adrian knowing who each other is for so long, and they're standing right next to each other, and anyone who's watching this show is just like, come on, open your eyes, come on, open your eyes. Everybody, even I'm like that, and I don't even ship these two. And that's I don't like this because it's such emotional manipulation that doesn't need to be done for the story. It's just being done just to manipulate the audience, and just to push the whole drama thing further. But at the same time, it works. Like, I want these two to know who each other is, and the tension is there because they're right next to each other and they won't open their eyes. But the reason I actually do like this part is because now Tiki and Plag know. Now Tiki and Plag know. First of all, I've always wanted Tiki and Plag to meet because I think they would make a great foil. But Tiki has seen Adrian. She knows that Adrian is Cat Noir. And Plag has seen Marinette. Plag knows that Marinette is Ladybug. So it's actually does, even if it's just a little bit, it does further the they know who each other is subplot thing that needs to happen. So I can ultimately say that I did like that part, even though I know it's manipulating me on a level that it shouldn't. So Ladybug and Cat Noir break out, and they discover, they're like, wait a second, his Akuma's not on him, it's in his computer. And that got me thinking, I never thought about this before, but the Akuma doesn't need to stay with them. Whatever item the Akuma is in, they can just hide it. And I was just thinking, why didn't anyone else do that? Like, some of them can't, because it's the thing, the Akuma item is supposed to be the thing that gives them their power. So, like, you know, Alia, she needs a cell phone, so she needs to keep her cell phone with her at all times. And when Stormy Weather did anything, she had to point her umbrella to do it. Or Timebreaker, she needed her skates, and that's where the Akuma was. But yeah, it's just, they don't need to be connected to the Akuma at all times. Why don't they just hide it? I think it's usually because the Akuma is in the weapon they use. So the episode goes on, and they find the Akuma and they destroy it. It's in his office and they destroy it. So the episode ends, the episode comes to the end, and the owl is no longer ridiculed. Because before, in the beginning, I forgot to say this, everyone was ridiculing him because he was doing such a bad job. And when they found out he was Principal Damocles, it just made it worse. And so that's why he was embarrassed. But now no one's ridiculing him. They're actually praising him. And I think this is such a forced happily ever after. Because he's even got his own students coming up and saying, hey, can we get your autograph? Can we get a picture? It's like, no, kids wouldn't act like that. Because what he's doing is he's going to people and just being a good Samaritan. And one of the things he does is he calls the fire department to get a cat out of a tree. Again, a normal person can get a cat out of a tree. Just get a ladder. Yeah, they come to, and suddenly the whole city just likes him because this show likes happily ever afters. Again, I don't like that kind of stuff, but it wasn't enough to kill my enjoyment of the episode. I really did enjoy the episode because the owl's cheesiness, and then when the dark owl came up, it was like the serious side of. It's kind of like looking at both sides of comics actually. The golden age when all the cheesiness happened and they had fun with it at the same time. Not the Silver Age, but the age after the Silver Age, where just the darkness of comics came out and whatnot. But overall, I had a lot of fun watching this episode. Now, that's the end of that, but I do want to say something before I head out. I've had some people who've been concerned that I'm not going to finish these reviews. As far as Season 2 goes, as long as I have access to it, I am going to finish Season 2 to the end, as long as I have access to it. Like if for some reason Netflix just cuts it off and doesn't put it on, or they don't put all the episodes or something, then I don't know what I can do. But as long as I have access to Season 2, I will finish. It's just that I'm trying to keep the content on my channel varied. And at the moment, I can only make one video per week, if even that. Sometimes I can't even do that because real life schedule is busy. But we've had a huge surge of subscribers and views in the past week. So the closer we push to that, the closer we push to me being able to do this full time. So when that happens, I'll be able to get a lot more stuff done and a lot more better quality. So thank you guys so much for all the support you've been showing me over especially this past week. My jaw dropped when I saw those numbers. It really helps me out, and it really makes it to me making more content. So if you like the content and you share, you say anything in the comments, that helps with the algorithm. That helps me with my channel. So once again, thank you guys. And I will see you guys next time for the next episode. Forgot what episode we're on. Episode 8, I want to say, is the next episode. But I'll see you guys next time. This has been Shady Doorags. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen.